it's rolled around again, and it's rolled around real quick, ladies and gentlemen, for us when you think about it. I mean, I was at the O2 watching you guys perform and hearing a new song being played, and it's like, in a way, for me as a fan, like you'd never left. It was wonderful. And I know fans feel the same way, and we're thrilled to have you back out here in the UK and on Radio 1. Caleb, Nathan, how you boys doing?
Good, man.
Great.
Good.
Enjoying the sunshine.
Yeah, well, the minutes that we get. You're here with new music to play, and we're going to do that. We're going to talk about the new album, which we're excited to do as well, and the hottest record in the world, Supersoaker. Talk us through this track, fellas, and you know why it was chosen to kind of lead the record. And
Well, oddly enough, every time we make a record, it's a rare occasion that a song that we're all excited about becomes the song that people want to become the first single, and this is just so happens to be the one, but. I don't know. It's a fun song. We kind of had like this little melody, and I tried to sing about stuff that was a little lighthearted and nothing too serious, you know.
It's got that great Motown 4 on the floor beat to it. Nice one. Let's check it out right now. Radio 1. This is Supersoaker, Kings of Leon. We're really excited to play this. I can't wait to. In a way, it feels like we're setting this free. So let's do this right now. Radio 1.
Attention. Alright, my main man Zane is about to put the hottest. This is the hottest record in the world right now.
You may have heard it live. The band have been playing on and off on tour, but it's great to be able to play recorded music from Kings of Leon from your forthcoming new album, Mechanical Bull. Supersoaker, universally chosen by band and crew as single number one from the album. Who normally wins that fight, Nath, when it comes to choosing the first single on the record? Who's got the most amount of gold stars on their wall for choosing the right ones?
It's usually band versus non-band, really.
Right.
I mean, I think it's just... you could ask any band in the world, out of 12 songs on a record, the one you would not want to be a single, the label comes back and is like, yeah, that's a definite single right there.
But you guys make albums, though. That's the difference. There are a lot of artists that go out there and they go, well, you know, it's interesting sort of debate, but the whole thing of like, well, if you can't choose one song to be a single, it shouldn't be on the record, but that takes away the concept of a journey, of a record that goes through peaks and troughs. Not everything has to appeal to radio. Do you know what I mean? You seem to be more that kind of band.
Yeah, that's what's so hard for us because... you know, when you're making an album and you're trying to make it to where it has like the peaks and the valleys and whatnot, a lot of times you're listening to it as a whole and you go, well, now that's a great moment on the album. Maybe that's what they should hear. But a lot of times, you know, it's not the case. You know, you kind of have to suck them in with something else, and then hopefully they purchase the whole album. When they do, then they realize later on, they're like, oh, I understand that they were doing something that maybe had a little bit of a familiarity to it.
Bring us
to where
in.
it's going to make us want to buy something, and then you'll see really the depth of what we're doing.
It's cool that you think that way. I mean, I'm sure there are times when you have to make these decisions where you wish you could finish the record and let somebody else make that call. Because you know, an album's an album, isn't it? At the end of the day, from start to finish.
Well, I'm the worst. I'm always the one that anytime I get the feeling or they tell me that they think something's going to be a big song. I always think, well, then don't put it on the record, you know?
Wasn't Sex on Fire like that for you?
Sex on Fire, Use Somebody, Fans, just about every Radioactive.
So, needless to say, you're not the A&R man at your label.
Yeah, so pretty much any song that Caleb hates is pretty much guaranteed
like
as a Grammy or a Brit.
I'm the hipster fan.
Right.
It's like, no, too many people are going to listen.
Let's talk about Mechanical Bull, the making of this record. It feels to me, and I've been lucky enough to hear, you know, a good selection of the album, that there's not a huge amount of you know, perceived pressure in the recordings at all. I mean, I think you can hear sometimes when albums follow successful records, or you can feel the pressure cooker that pops that music out, for better or for worse. This one feels very natural to me as a fan.
Yeah, I think the last one kind of took the pressure off of us because, you know, Come Around Sundown followed up at that point, which was the biggest record of our career.
Yeah.
So going into this record, it was like the monkey's off our back. We don't have that pressure of like you're going to be able to match what the last record did.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know, we changed it up a bit on this record and did it at home in Nashville. And
Must have been nice to do it in your own studio, man.
yeah,
What's it like? Good spot?
Oh, it's like a Elks Lodge. It's like a clubhouse for
Yeah, it was a boy, like
boozers.
a little boy's house. Pretty much, we had so much fun that sometimes we had to remind ourselves, like, hey, we're here to do our job and make a record.
Was it hard to let go because of that fact? In a way, you know, when you embroil yourself in this environment that's your own, you built it, it's your place. No one has to hear it yet.
Yeah, well, this record, we definitely had more material than we ever have. I mean, we stopped ourselves at like 16 songs and said, even though we had written on the board, we had 20 or 21 songs that we could record. At 16, we were just like, all right, let's just assess where we are right now and make the best of what we have and then decide. And so there's still a lot of material at the studio waiting.
So the next record's already halfway done.
Perfect.
Almost. So,
Perfect.
you know.
The real freedom as well that comes with that. I think that if you can get to a point in your life where you can build your own HQ, record when and how you want, close to home, then you've kind of won. Yeah. You know, you've kind of won. Record labels can come and go. Popularity can come and go. If the art of making music is what drives you, which is what did in the first place, you sort of won.
Oh, yeah, and it feels like it's a shame that we waited so long to do it, because now it's, you know, it serves as not just the studio, but just, you know, we can go in there and rehearse or just go in there and goof off. And, you know, if there were a time when we needed to just record one song for something, you know, we can go in there and do that now.
It's there.
And we can go in at midnight or we can go in at 8 a.m, whatever we want to do. It's
And
really
I think it'll be neat to kind of, you know, go in, record 2 or 3 songs, then step away from them for a few months, then go cut another 2 or 3. And we've never really had that luxury because you're in the studio, you're on, you know, on a schedule. It costs X amount of dollars each day. You don't want to go over all that. So I think the pressure was really off of us on this last one because we were our own bosses. There were no bills because we bought the studio ourselves. There was no time frame when it had to be done by. And I think, you know, us being able to take a break, we kind of got to fall back in love with what we loved about it in the first place, which was just picking up your instruments and playing and smiling on stage and actually having fun and not feeling like you know, like it's a job.
Well, you earned that break. I don't think anyone was as prolific or hardworking from your generation of rock and roll bands as you guys were. I would put myself on the line for that. You know, you recorded records, you know, pretty much record tour, and you finally achieved what you set out to achieve. And we've had conversations through the journey where you're like, it'd be nice if a few people back home got to know who we were, and then boom, it happened. You know, and when you finally popped out the other side of that, and you had that time to reflect, you know, I can imagine that the emotions were mixed, you know?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we fought with it a little bit because, you know, what I mean, success is a amazing thing. And now I look at it completely differently. I mean, now when we play a concert, I look so forward to the Sex on Fire and the You Somebody moment because, like, this place is about to go bonkers, and I can't wait for that. But for a while, it was tough because when you write this set list and you have all these songs and you think, oh, this is a great moment, and you don't really get that reaction until the very end. It's kind of like, wow, man, I felt like I worked really hard, but you know, it takes that to get people to go back and discover what you've done. And now, I mean, we had a show the other night. And going into it, I told the guys, I was like, this is probably going to be a reserved crowd, so let's just have fun out there. And the place was nuts for every song. I mean, just the intro of the song, they would go nuts. And I was like, wow, they know the music now.
The songs on the albums, and in a lot of cases, the slower ones, certainly when I saw it at the O2 the other night, people live with those longer than they necessarily do with the singles. The singles, the big tunes, you know, Sex on Fire will always be a big song in your live set, but people then get to live with the other songs. Yeah. So you see them 3 or 4 times over the course of 5 or 6 years, and they love those songs. They're like, oh, I've been waiting to hear this one because I love it now.
Yeah.
You must be noticing that. Some of the album tracks.
Yeah, and I'm sure those are
Arizona.
those are the ones that people, you know, in their when they're on their own time, I would imagine that's what they're listening to. I don't think a lot of people are, sitting at home at night and listening to your Sex on Fire type songs. I think that it's more of your cold deserts.
You would more likely listen to Milk.
Yeah.
I would listen to Milk 5 times in a row before
Yeah.
I would listen to Sex on Fire twice.
So it's nice. It's like those songs have kind of got fan clubs of their very own now. It's all evening out is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, of course.
Well, the O2
we can feel it. We can feel it.
The
It's
O2
great.
the other night, it was the first time in a long time where there was that one diehard fan that during Sex on Fire sat there on the front row with their arms crossed, just sitting there
Making
just
a
like,
statement.
I'm not going to nod my head. I'm not even going to acknowledge the song as even being played, right? And just so mad at everyone around her for dancing to it. And I was like,
And
You got to respect those people.
Oh, you
yeah.
got to.
I'm a changed man now. Now I was mad at that person. I was like, really? Come on.
Yeah.
You gotta love this song.
Yeah. You seem good, man. You all seem really good. It's really relaxed, and I'm sure, like you say, that time off and coming back with a new record that means something to you guys with a bit of perspective. Does it feel like it's kind of a fresh start in a weird way? It sounds like weird to say, but when you go for however many years you went, was it 5 albums over 7 years or something, 8 years? You knock them out quick, and then you pop out the other side of that. You have some time away.
Oh man, time away is a wonderful thing. It took us a while to discover it. I mean, because in your time away, you're not only just spending time away from the music, you also start to realize what all you've accomplished in that amount of time. Because it's hard to sit back and enjoy the fruits of your labors when you're going from one great thing to another great thing.
Yeah.
And and
That's a good point, actually. Let's stop on that for a sec, because not a lot of people realize that. They think that you're spoiled or you're taking it for granted, but you don't have the time to actually appreciate it.
I say that, you've got to treat each moment that you're in like it's as successful as you're going to be. I don't know why I'm getting so tongue-tied right now. But no, you don't even have a chance to realize, how much success you have at that point because you're so busy. And then us taking the break, I think part of it was, man, we finally get to take a break, get to chill out for a second. Then the other part was like, you just think back to all the amazing, crazy nights and crazy things you did that you really didn't even get a chance to appreciate at the moment. And it's like, I tell any young band that, tries to get advice from us, I'm like, just enjoy right now, because this could be as good as it's ever going to get.
Obviously, you've extended your extended family into your own individual families, which is a great thing too. And to be fathers and to be able to raise kids in and amongst this with the success that you have under your belt and the freedom and the space to do it.
Yeah, that really is. That was one of the things that out of the break that we took. Not, obviously, just to be able to have children and experience that is beautiful, but when my wife was actually pregnant, that was like the best time for me, because, I would wake up and I would cook for her all day. I mean, she ate all day long, and I would just cook and clean and cook. And then
What were the cravings? What was the food on the menu?
it was odd, but she was bratwurst. All she wanted was bratwurst.
See, my wife, first time around, all she wanted was mint chocolate chip ice cream. Honey's going to kill me for saying that, but she would devour mint chocolate chip ice
No,
cream.
but I'm not talking about like bratwurst. I'm talking about like
Like a whole
pack of
German
bratwurst.
festival.
Yeah, it was like unreal, and she would want me to eat it. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna cook myself some eggs or something. But then I would put her to bed at night, and I would go into my little office area, and I would have like, a scotch and pick up my guitar and just
Live a life.
enjoy making music and just come up with creative stuff, and I just loved it. It was just, I don't know, it was a beautiful, beautiful time.
See, I got gypped. I got so gypped with the pregnancy thing.
Go on.
Because I have a sweet tooth, a horrible sweet tooth.
Yeah.
So I was like, my wife's going to be the kind that likes to dip chocolate chip cookies in peanut butter.
What was it?
And then just, none of that. Celery, carrots, broccoli. So Halloween rolls around. I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy $1,000 worth of candy
We're
just
going
because
in.
we're going all in,
Yeah.
knowing that there'd be a lot left over. Me and her would tear through it. And no, the day after, guess what I did? Took every bit of the candy and gave it to some friends of ours' kids.
That's thank God the result was worth it, because that's hard. It's a
Yeah.
few months of tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
Terrible story.
The local dentist appreciated us giving those kids that
Of
much
course,
candy, though.
because of course, for every downside, someone's getting paid.
Exactly.
That's the upside. So you're back with this new record, Mechanical Bull. Some of the best songs that I've heard you guys write from my memory of listening to them. One in particular, you're going to have to remind me, is it Beautiful War? Let's talk about that song. I worry for you. In fact, I don't, because I know that you're ready for it. But if you were still in that frame of mind post Sex on Fire...
no, I think if people don't... I think if people don't appreciate Beautiful War, then they can't appreciate anything.
I
really,
mean, that's outrageous. That record.
I've been playing that song for the guys for quite a while now.
How long? How long's it been around for?
I wrote that the same weekend I wrote You Somebody.
That's a good weekend. That's a good week.
It was on 2 pages. One page was You Somebody, and the very next page was Beautiful War.
Shut up. You serious?
Yeah.
You got that page?
Yeah, I do got that page. But, you know, the way I was playing it was kind of a slower, dronier type of thing. And we got to the studio. You know, at the studio, sometimes we get a little rowdy and stuff happens at night that we don't recall. And we had like a track listing of songs to work on. And there was one track that was called What Is This? And I looked and I was like, what is this? And Angelo said, I don't know, man. You played it one night. And he played it, and it was Beautiful War.
You don't even remember laying it down.
I was like, oh, man, these guys have heard that. They don't like it. But Matt was like, man, that lyric, that's good. And so we got together, and we just changed the whole tempo and tried to make it more of a driving, kind of like more of a Motown kind of thing. And we were like, okay, that's great. And the very first song of the record we recorded was Beautiful War. And we had only really put it together as a whole like a week before.
I mean, I cannot wait for people who are listening to this interview to check that song out, because that is, I think it's the best thing that you guys have ever recorded. I mean, it's another benchmark moment for you, but it's different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got that rock thing down. Yeah. But this is like capturing emotion in a whole other way. I mean, it's a bit of a with or without you moment, you know, that one, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's, you know, it's important to, if you're going to write a love song, you should write it from a standpoint of where most people wouldn't write it. And I think it's, you know, it's a beautiful thing because it's written about, most of it's about, you know, the fighting and the other things that come with being in love. You know, it's not all flowers and candy and all that stuff.
It's true.
And it's about, you know, just the private moments. I took our private moments and I turned it into the biggest song in the world.
I was going to add that to that equation. I was going to say, can I add something to the equation? If you're going to write a love song, you should make it the biggest song in the world.
She always complains that I never write enough songs about her, so there you go.
No, she's got the one. There you go. Let's talk about some of the other things that sort of really translate to me on the record, which is, you know, vocally you're being playful again. Do you know what I mean? And it feels like you've kind of gone back to who you were as a young man, you know, when you kind of probably lacked the confidence for people to hear your lyrics. So you were being very melodically playful, rolling your words in interesting ways. You're doing that again, but you're doing it so we can hear your lyrics. It's like the perfect melding of the two. Is that a fair observation on this record, do you think?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for noticing. I definitely, on this record, I had confidence in a weirder way. It was I mean, I used to be scared of using vibrato. I wanted everything to be a flat note and, you know, never sing like I used to in church. But I went for it at times. And then there are other times when I'm really trying to impress some of my family members, like my uncles. There's a moment on Supersoaker. There's a moment on Don't Matter. There are moments throughout where I just kind of like really go for it and do some fun stuff. And,
feels good, huh?
Oh God, it feels good. Freedom. Now it's like I'm in the shower.
Must be nice for you guys as well too to see your brother, who has to carry a certain amount of the responsibility up front of being in the band and having that voice. You were blessed with that voice, and all of you are incredibly talented, and the chemistry is perfect. We all know that, but still, the voice is the voice. To see him be able to enjoy it, and I don't mean to speak as if you're not here, but do you know what I mean? It must be nice for you, Nathan, and the guys to see him relax into it.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's great. Because it was so funny, because early on, every interview we'd read, it'd be like, oh, he's got marbles in his mouth, like Jack Daniels and marbles, because he would intentionally try to make it to where he couldn't understand what he was saying. But
isn't it great, though, to be able to sit here and have this conversation, having met you guys for the first time when you were on Gonzo and you had moustaches and long hair and you were baked out of your box. Seriously, I mean, the two of you barely strung a sentence together on that interview. It was amazing. We still got it in the archive somewhere. And then
He's still struggling over there.
you know, and I just think, you know, looking back on that and looking at where you are now, and I just think, God, you know, the music you've given us has been so great.
Thank you.
You know, it's nice to find you guys here in this situation, you know.
Well, you were, you know, you got in on it early and have kind of championed the Kings of Leon cause.
I was
from the beginning, so
I was a secret investor, and it's been good for me, and I want to thank you all very much for that.
I remember all of the early stuff, but I remember being at a Mexican restaurant in Nashville, and you calling, and I had a phoner with you, and I was outside, and I'd had a couple of margaritas, and you were like, and they're going to debut their new song. And you're like, Sex on Fire. What is this Sex on Fire? And then we played it, and that was the start of all the big stuff.
I remember we had a laugh on Gonzo one time when I said Sex on Fire is arguably the worst song title of all time.
Yeah.
You were like, I have to agree with you on that one.
I was looking at our security guard going, take him out.
We can't wait to catch up with you as time goes on. Do you think there'll be, I mean, you've already got songs under your belt now without jumping too far ahead. I mean, you've got your own studio. I guess you can pick and choose when you want to do it. I'd imagine that creativity will be more free-flowing at this point.
Yeah, we actually, as soon as this is over, we get straight back in the studio.
Amazing. Well, whenever you're ready, so are we. Great to see you. Thank you for your time.
Good to see you.